Okay, so are you ready to dive into some serious history with me today?
Always ready. What have we got?
Well, we're tackling World War I.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
It is a big one. But we've got some interesting stuff to work with. We've got excerpts from this document simply titled World War I.pdf. Very mysterious, right?
Who knows what we'll find in there?
Exactly. And to make things even more interesting, we've also got, well, a blank image.
A blank image, like literally nothing there.
Yep, totally blank. But trust me, it'll make sense later.
Okay, you've got me intrigued. Let's hear about this World War I document first.
Right, so flipping through this World War I.pdf, one of the things that really jumped out at me was how much it focuses on the events leading up to the war, all the tension brewing in Europe.
Right, because you can't really understand the war without understanding that context.
Exactly, and there's this one part that talks about a trade dispute between Austria, Hungary, and Serbia over pigs. Can you believe that? Pigs.
Pigs going to war.
Well, not exactly, but, this dispute over pigs actually played a part in the rising tensions.
Huh, that's interesting. I guess even something that seems insignificant to us now could have been a big deal back then.
Right. It's all about perspective. And the document actually highlights this, showing how even seemingly minor things could escalate quickly in that pre-war atmosphere.
So it was like a powder keg just waiting for a spark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what really blew my mind was how the document challenges some of those common narratives we have about World War I, like who was really responsible.
Oh, yeah. Blame can be a tricky thing in history. So what does the document say?
Well, it has this whole section on how the internal politics of the countries involved played a huge role in pushing them towards war. It wasn't just a few leaders making decisions in a vacuum.
That's a good point. It's easy to oversimplify history and focus on these big personalities, but there were all these complex internal pressures and public opinion to consider, too.
Right. And the document actually argues that there was this, growing acceptance of war as inevitable.
Wow, so people were almost expecting it to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing to think about. And it really makes you question those history textbooks that just boil everything down to a few dates and names, which actually brings us back to that blank image.
Okay, let's hear how this blank image fits in.
Well, you know how history is often presented as this neat and tidy story? But the reality is so much more complicated.
Oh, absolutely. There are so many different perspectives and so much that we just don't know.
Right. And I think that's what this blank image represents, is all those things we don't know, the stories that get left out, the voices that aren't heard.
Yeah, like those internal political struggles we were talking about. What was it like for the people living through those times?
Or the everyday experiences of people caught up in the war. The blank image kind of forces us to confront those gaps in our knowledge.
It's a powerful reminder that there's always more to the story.
So, thinking about all this, why does any of this matter to us now? World War I happened over a century ago.
That's the big question, right? But even though it was so long ago, World War I really did change the world forever. It led to the collapse of empires, the rise of new ideologies, the redrawing of borders. But so many things we still deal with today.
It's like all those things are still echoing through time.
And understanding World War I helps us make sense of those echoes.
And, it also reminds us that even our actions today can have consequences we might not even imagine.
It's a powerful reminder to think carefully about the choices we make.
Well, this has been quite a deep dive. I know I've learned a lot today.
Me too.
And that blank image, I think it's something that'll stay with me. It's like a challenge to keep digging deeper, to keep asking questions.
And to remember that history isn't just about the past. It can also help us create a better future.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.
See you then.